welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter and this is James.
Hello!
And today we're talking about volumes 19 and 20 of Vinland Saga. The War in the Baltic chapters did indeed continue into this book and, well, completely all throughout this book. And I mean, I'm guessing it's going to continue at least to some degree into the next book.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I think this ended on the 20th chapter that's called War in the Baltic, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it's really a series of chapters now that we're maybe getting close to the end of, although it's definitely not finished yet.
Yeah, I get the feeling that it's reaching its climax kind of a thing, you know?
Definitely.
I do think it's funny how we've had a few, I guess, little arcs or little sections where the chapters are all the same name, just like part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
But in the prologue and really most of the slave arc, I don't think there were ever part 1s or part... Well, here and there, I guess, but not to this extent.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I wonder if it's like, I'm really getting tired of thinking of names for all these chapters.
Yeah, I had that thought too. Like, yeah, it just makes it easier for him. And I can't blame
hey,
him.
I'm totally fine. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like I needed a new chapter name with each chapter, you know?
No, absolutely. But yeah, no, it's great. And also, one other thing I want to just mention before we get into the character discussions here is Yukimura's art just continues to amaze me. And
Oh my gosh.
like, especially like the details throughout. And I think this
Yeah.
book had some images of like the battles at Jomsborg with like just so many warriors fighting each other in the same image. Like there was especially that one big spread in chapter 142, I think it was. Just this massive image of like the wall and just soldiers on both sides fighting, and like there must have been well over 100 people in that image. Like it was so fascinating to look at that. Like I started trying to count them, but I pretty quickly just realized no, I have forgotten which ones I counted and which ones I haven't. But yeah, I'm sure there were well over 100. Like so many, and like that must have taken so much time to get done.
Yeah, it's amazing how much he's going into how much he's put into all of these chapters, really. Like the art is amazing, the details are amazing. It's a real treat to read every time, and the chance that we get to reread it twice or just reread it, it gives us more opportunity to appreciate that art, you know?
Yes, for sure. Oh, yeah. One last little thing actually on his art here was there were a couple of scenes in that during those war scenes that gave us some visuals that like of just the brutality and kind of gross stuff, and just kind of just tragedy of it all. Some of those visuals that I will remember for a long time, I'm sure. Like for example, that father who was just blasted, well, in half, basically.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He's like, I'm gonna retire to see my grandson.
Right.
It's gonna be great.
That was so and then the brother who shot his brother in the head.
Yeah, those are both cases of like severe dark comedy.
It really is. It is. And it also displays the horrors and the terrors of war.
Yeah.
In a really good way.
Exactly.
But yeah. I guess that's all I just wanted to touch on before we are going into the characters. Anything you want to go over before we do?
Oh no, I'm ready to go into the characters.
Let's get into the characters then. Thorfinn finally finds out that Floki is the person who's ultimately responsible for Thor's death.
Finally.
And it was pretty much the beginning of this book too here. So yeah, 19 volumes in, that finally happens. And it did make him feel like killing him for a moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was able to get over that feeling, at least for the time being, but he fears that he will want to kill him if he comes face to face with him again. And that's obviously they're pretty close by right now by the end of the book. So I'm just really excited I'm expecting them to actually meet in the next book at some point. So that's going to be so exciting to see just how Thorfinn is going to be able to control himself.
Absolutely, because I feel like he's not going to go the route of let his anger get the best of him. I do think he's going to be able to control himself. I just don't know how exactly he's going to react and everything.
Right.
So it's going to be fun to see, like you said, how how it goes about, and not just his interaction with Floki, but you know, an interaction with a few other characters that definitely want to cause harm to Thorfinn in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this next book is definitely leading up to some interesting interactions, most of all being Floki.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I knew he was disappointed in himself for the way he reacted
Yeah.
and how much he took revenge, but I feel like he was really hard on himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand he wants to change and be a better person and not ever have those thoughts. I get it. But, he's improved so much and
Yeah. It really has.
he's at a point where he can control himself and not just be mad with rage, you know?
Yeah. Right. And plus, he's shown time and time again just how strong he is in many instances. Like, well, not
Yeah.
not not just here where he actually was able to get over kind of that feeling, at least for the time being, but also just many other times in the past. Well, when he took that 100 punches to the face, for example, like stuff like that. The old Thorfinn would have never done that.
And, he didn't get revenge for Arnheid, like
Yeah.
he didn't go after Kettle. So
Mm.
there's instances of him really controlling and not giving into any sort of the hatred or rage. But I guess like his next step is not to ever have those feelings. But that's almost impossible. And I
Yeah.
feel like he's admitted that before. I don't know,
Yeah.
but still,
Yeah, like I don't doubt that he can grow more, even more.
sure, yeah,
But it
that's fair.
is it was still sad to see him be so down on himself over this
Yeah,
when it is so true that he has come so far.
yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. I feel like in this book there was this new temptation to fight for a noble cause,
Mm.
fight for a noble cause, because that feels like it's a justification to take someone's life, to fight in this war. But for Thorfinn, that's not good enough, or not good enough to God. There is no good reason to do that, or he feels like that should not
Mm.
ever be the first resort or any sort of resort.
Yeah.
And it was interesting how a lot of these sides were, or at least the Vaughn side was trying to make him see that justice was on their side and this was the noble cause, fighting for your father's honor, like all that kind of stuff makes
Mm.
it worth it, makes it justified. And to be fair, I'm sure that those pleasantries sounded tempting in a way, but I think again Thorfinn has grown so much that he doesn't need that and is not seeking that. Understands that his father would not want that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and that's also a huge sign of his growth.
Yeah.
But because this book was so well, obviously the party was split for pretty much all this whole book. I well, it and the focus was on both of the sides. I actually don't have more notes on Thorfinn, but if you have anything more, go for it.
Oh, really? I actually do have a few things. I'm glad Thorfinn has continued to place his trust in Canute, but he seems to have a little, he's like, what is Canute doing? He should be
Mm,
controlling these beasts and warriors, not causing this much pain and suffering for the people around.
yeah,
So, yeah, there's a little bit of frustration there.
right. Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He was frustrated and probably maybe a bit disappointed to some degree,
Mm,
in the way that Knut has just allowed this to continue.
right. I'll have more on Canute later on, which hey,
For sure.
he did come back in a way
Yeah.
to the story. Um, but there's that. That one girl was totally crushing on Thorfinn. Like
Yeah.
she was all like,
Somehow. I mean, he's a cute guy, uh,
oh, I mean,
and he was a hero in a sense to those girls.
yeah,
So yeah, that was kind of funny. Also, kind of sad to be honest for her to feel
yeah,
like she would thank him through, well, sex. I assume was her thinking.
yeah. Whatever pleasantries. Hey, maybe it was just holding hands. You don't know.
True. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Fair.
But you know,
Hmm.
uh, Thorfinn again shows that he's totally oblivious to all that. Well,
True.
Hild was kind of too. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just totally oblivious to all that. But I just thought her, because I wasn't expecting that at all. Like I saw her blushing, and then like her reaction just to be like super disappointed.
Yeah, there was a lot of focus on her, or like a lot of panels that showed her kind of looking at Thorfinn
Yeah.
in different ways like that.
Yeah. It was just funny.
Mm.
But hey, Thorfinn's got it right. Like if he is ready, I'm sure someone will come in and be his partner.
For sure.
Anyway, yeah. I like how this new character Garm seems to be quite a match for him in terms of speed and skill,
Yeah.
and it makes the contrast between them, like there's so many different contrasts that we mentioned for Thorfinn, but the contrast between them, like being someone who's super skilled and that really wants to fight, and then someone who's also skilled but just tries to avoid fighting as much as possible.
Yeah.
It's like two very strong wills coming at each other.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. That was an interesting character that I look forward to talking about in a little bit, but
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, just in general, his vow to not kill is not looking great. Like, I mean, of course, like it's a great thing to do. What I'm saying is, will he be able to keep it? And I like I said, I think he will be. It's just, it, there's he mentions like that it doesn't seem possible with all these conflicts happening, and now with Gudrid kind of kidnapped, like or trapped,
Um,
it does seem like more and more impossible to avoid bloodshed. But I have faith in Thorfinn.
yeah, right. Yeah, me too, definitely. But it is looking really rough.
That's all I have.
Cool. Then moving into Gudrid next. Something I absolutely loved about her role in this book was how she really quickly, or but pretty quickly at least, was able to relate to Baldr's struggles. Of
Yeah.
of not wanting to become the thing that the people around him expect of him to become.
Hmm.
Whereas she had that pretty much that exact same thing. I mean, a little different situation, but very much the same concept of her not wanting to become a bride that everyone else expected her to become. And here we have Baldr, who is expected to become this war chief, or chieftain, or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought it was so cool to see how she felt for him so easily and so quickly picked up on his emotions about that. So of course I loved it when she offered him to come with them on the journey.
Yeah.
Just so good. So like it means, I think, especially much coming from her, who, I mean, she has a lot of experience running away. That's something she's done since she was a little kid. But yeah, with those being able to sympathize with him like that and inviting him to come with, was super hype.
Right. And I like how she's kind of continuing Thorfinn's mission in giving people who want peace and some sort of respite from the fighting to a place for them to run away to.
Yeah.
And her offering that to Balder is exactly that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, that's great. A great point.
And by the way, she looked absolutely stunning when she said that. Like, there's just randomly the panel is just like super detailed, like luscious lips and great eyes. Like when she asked Balder to come with them. Like,
Yeah, she is stunning.
beauty shot.
She's gorgeous. Uh, when she said, "I farted," a very manly and vocal fart, that shit killed me. Oh, and like just the timing of it, like how quickly she came up with that idea or like that excuse.
Right.
It's just
It's so
fun.
unexpected.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh my gosh.
and she kept it up. Like
Yeah, right.
any noise that he made, he's like, "Oh, well, there's my tummy. Like something's really not
Yeah,
agreeing with
really
it."
doing a number on me today.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that was so hilarious. And the faces that came, like when
Yeah.
Leif like shouted from the well, and just her
Yeah.
reaction to that, like oh crap. Oh boy. But yeah, she is the only one from the main group that is separated from the main group now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just going into the next book. I'm just super excited to see how she's gonna deal with all of that. I'm sure she and Baldr will somehow cooperate or like maybe come up with something together.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that she is without anyone that she actually knows properly is is exciting, I think.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Save Gudrid.
Yeah. Although I want her to have a hand in saving herself as well.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm sure she will. All right. Well, I guess I can't know for sure, but yeah. I mean, she is what's the word?
capable.
She is capable. That's not the word I was looking for, but yeah, let's go with that. She is capable. Yeah, yeah. So I'm sure it'll all go well. She and Thorfinn will surely, or she and the rest of the group in general, will surely meet up again in the next book. I'm sure. Anything else on her?
I guess I'll just mention this. I think she has a lot of guts to. Well, I guess she was behind bars, but still, it's a lot of guts to say to a warrior that call him sick in the head for how much they like killing and whatnot. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Respect.
Just yeah, her absolute distaste to that, and just like listing things that are totally admirable things to do instead of that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that some of that, I guess, reprimanding gets through to some of the characters at some point.
Yeah.
But sometimes it does feel like you're talking to a brick wall.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, with a lot of the Jonas Vikings especially.
Yeah.
But yeah, should be. Yeah, it definitely would be interesting for one of those people. Like we talked about the potential of Thorkell, perhaps.
Yeah.
Changing his ways. But really, any of those types of characters would be it would be a big feat, or a big like accomplishment, to have one of those people turned around, kind of.
Agreed.
Then let's move on to Einar next. I was a little bit disappointed in him actually at the beginning of this book, or at least the early of what we saw of him. I was a bit disappointed in him for not helping out when when they were sewing the sail to repair it.
Oh.
I would expect Bug Eyes to not care about that. Like that's kind of just expected. But I thought I thought higher of Einar in terms of those types of things. But he was just basically playing with Bug Eyes instead of actually helping out with that.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I guess my thought. Yeah, I mean, I had no idea what they were doing really. I guess I thought it was training, but then it's like, what training for? Aren't they not supposed to fight with weapon? Like, or at least
Right.
Einar. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my only thought is maybe Einar is not good with the sew a needle or thread a needle. I don't know.
I mean, fair. I mean, I guess in this time age, like most men probably didn't learn much about sewing and stuff. Like that's just kind of how the gender roles functioned back then. So sure, he may not have learned it growing up, but never too late to learn. I think.
Never too late to learn. And then again, sailors. I mean, they got to learn how to mend the sail, right?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, good point. One that I did not think of too much, but now that I think of it, like, yeah, like why wasn't he doing anything else? Maybe they were training off. Like maybe he had done stuff. He's like, all right, your turn, Gudrid, or something.
Okay, yeah, okay, sure. That's fair. That we could try to view it that way.
You know what's funny though? Gudrid, didn't she like have no talent for some of the things that were considered womanly duties?
Yeah, that was pointed out. Yeah, although I guess you could also maybe view that as she is like comparatively not that great at it, but she's still capable. Like she can do it. It's just not, I guess, as great as a lot of other women who have trained at it. Also, maybe. Maybe.
Then again, it could just be like sewing is different than say tapestry weaving, which is completely different.
True.
And maybe that was the thing she sucked at versus sewing. Maybe sewing she's fine.
True. Yeah, could be that as well.
Anyway, Einar.
Yes.
I really don't have much on Einar actually.
Fair. I guess I don't have a whole lot either. I have one more thing though, being the big battle at Jomsborg. I think that might have been, or probably was the first like full-on battle that Einar has seen, or at the very least been in the middle of. Since obviously he isn't a fighter or anything like that.
Right.
So because of that possibility that when he was in the middle of that, with Leif, I appreciated his comment about this being hell on earth. And, as he carried Leif through the moat, and just that commentary on a person's first experience being in the middle of a battlefield, I thought was good.
Yeah, I liked it,
Mm-hmm.
and how he was carrying Leif on his back and everything. Like,
Yeah.
the whole scenery and moment was impactful.
Yep. But is that it on Einar?
Yeah.
Cool. Then let's talk about Baldr next. Floki's grandson, who was mentioned a little bit in the previous book, but he didn't appear until the beginning of this one, and he's also Thorfinn's cousin.
I'm so glad he's not a snot-nosed little brat. I feel like the stereotype is that this grandson is a spoiled, pampered little boy. I mean, he's spoiled and he's educated and whatnot, but he's not stuck up or thinks he's the greatest thing in the world. Honestly, he has his own desires, and it's separate from the battlefield. So it's just really refreshing to have not a stereotype in that way.
Definitely, yeah. And well, he's being trained to become that leader, obviously, of Jomsborg one day. But he doesn't want that, and he wants a normal life where he can go fishing and have fun and stuff like that. And I thought in that way he reminded me of young Knut, like having this potential of, for Knut it was the potential of becoming king, and for this guy it's the potential of becoming the chieftain of the Jomsvikings. But neither of them necessarily really wanted that. Well, at least back then, Knut didn't want that. And I mean, there's also the fact that he kind of a little bit looks like young Knut too. But it's I think it's fun to see, or I guess I thought it was fun to see those similarities. But I'm kind of expecting Baldr to not grow into what Knut grew into.
I agree. Furthering on that comparison, Knut wanted to cook and be with his foster dad, basically.
Yeah.
And not worry about fighting and whatnot. And so Baldr is similar in that, where he'd rather be fishing, be with his grandfather.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So I think that now that there is this opportunity to reach that kind of peaceful living, I think Baldr could actually attain that where Canute could not.
Yeah, right. I mean, I really hope so. 'Cause, part of me, I think the biggest part of me is assuming that he will actually go with our crew here and join them on the journey to Miklagard, and then maybe also probably even to Vinland eventually. But there's also still a smaller part of me that just kind of fears that he's gonna choose to not come with them because because obviously it's a big thing to leave your home and go with people that you don't actually even really know. So a small part of me is afraid that he won't go with them and that he's gonna stay and kind of suffer on where he is, which would be a pretty sad fate for him. But it's one that I wouldn't be too surprised, even though it's just a smaller part of me that's kind of thinking about that, I guess.
But what if his grandpa, Floki, dies in this battle? Does he have any reason to stick around? Like, what would be the point?
True. Well, I guess we don't know all of the ties that he might have to servants, and maybe I don't know if he has friends, or I don't know.
I mean, because his parents are gone.
Yeah.
And I maybe they're friends. I don't know. Like, maybe he'll feel some sense of entitled duty, but I don't know. That doesn't seem to be especially since he's only 10 years old. What are these Vikings gonna care? Especially since Floki, the guy that they really were fighting for, is, if he is dead, or if he does die, is gone.
True. Right.
So I don't know. I mean, if Floki still lives for whatever reason, which that would mean that Thorfinn obviously didn't get his vengeance in that way, so that's probably a good thing. Then yeah, I totally see Baldr staying around and maybe something happens there. His story continues elsewhere.
Right.
But if Floki does die, I think he would go with them.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's my thing.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. But Baldr came to save Gudrid, Einar, and Leif because he thought that Thorfinn was behind this war and that his friends could talk him into calling it off, basically. Or at least that was his initial reason for letting them go. Although,
Right.
even after learning that probably wasn't the case, I guess, because I guess by the end of the book, they don't know for sure, really, what's the case, like for 100% sure. Although, obviously, the people that know Thorfinn really doubt that he would actually be behind any of that. But anyway, like, since Baldr, even after he learns that probably wasn't the case, though, he is still helping them, and he shows them the secret tunnel and all that. So, yeah, it just shows that he's such a good kid.
It's true. I like him. He's a nice kid. It reminds me of, actually, maybe Canute reminds me more of this.
Oh.
I've been in a Monty Python phase, I guess.
Oh.
I haven't watched Monty Python recently, but I just really been remembering. Like, you know that in the Holy Grail where there's that scene where you have a father you have a kid who's gonna get married to some lady, and the father comes in and is like, "Why aren't you getting ready?" And he's like, "But father, I don't want to be married.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to sing." It's like, no, there'll be no singing. My God. Yeah, it's like I feel like Floki is the father and Baldur is the. But Floki, but Grandpa, all I want to do is fish.
Yes.
And then Canute is all I want to do is cook.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Yes. I like that.
Sorry, that for some reason I was making my notes that came to me. Like, oh. Yes. So Baldur, I'm interested to see where his story goes from here.
Definitely, me too. Was that all on him?
Yeah.
Then let's talk about Bug Eyes next. So him turning super serious, to try to fool Garm, and like, oh my god, that was so funny. Like his entire face, like the way he was drawn, just changed. Or his eyes, I guess, especially.
Yeah.
He looked like suddenly he looked really handsome, and like, oh my gosh, that was so funny.
And how his way of trying to circumvent the whole thing, and it's just like long text and just going on and on, and
yeah,
loved it.
Such a long monologue, and then leading up to "Gotcha, sucker!" No, did not go very well though. But that was unexpected, I thought, for him to actually kind of put himself out there for his friends or for his companions. Was something that, based on the previous book, I wouldn't have necessarily expected. Obviously, he had that idea to hit Garm. Sorry, Gorm was the uncle of Askeladd. Garm is this guy. Anyway, to hit him when he was not looking. But yeah, ultimately, I thought it was I mean, all things considered, a pretty good move.
Yeah, he surprised me in this book. Not so much for his complaining and his tomfoolery, but yeah, it's like standing up or trying to basically take the initiative and come up with a plan and everything. But also him showing that he really, really cares about Leif.
Yeah, that was so sweet.
Yeah, that was really nice. And I think I said last discussion that he wasn't my favorite, or like I didn't really care for him, or maybe it wasn't that harsh. But I do like him. I think he's pretty funny and
yeah,
not just a comedic relief. I mean, that's mostly what he is. But I like that he's there because he's really loyal to Leif and cares about him.
Yeah,
so I like that.
Totally. Yeah, he absolutely grew in this book. Or at least we got to see more of the depth of his character in this book.
Yeah.
So that was really great. And yeah, I agree with you. Kind of before this book, there wasn't that much interesting to him really, but now I think there is. And in addition to the things that we mentioned so far, I think there was one other part that I really liked from him this book when Thorfinn had just gotten to Odense. It was Odense where they met. Anyway, when they had just met up again. Anyway. the two of them, Thorfinn and Thorfinn.
Yeah.
Thorfinn, actual Thorfinn. Okay, I'm not gonna call Bug-Eyes Thorfinn because that's just gonna make it confusing. So actual Thorfinn.
Thorfinn too.
Our Thorfinn. He started feeling bad about the idea of killing someone in order to save someone, and I was really happy about Bug-Eyes' response to that. Like, sure, it's respectable of Thorfinn to not want to resort to violence and like to not want to take lives. But in this instance, I think Bug-Eyes was right. Like risking the lives, or maybe even taking the lives of some Jomsvikings in order to rescue your innocent friends is better than leaving your friends to die. Like I can't not agree with that.
Yeah, it's true.
And so I thought it was good that he kind of spoke some sense into Thorfinn in that moment, because sure, yeah, I understand where Thorfinn is coming from, but yeah, I thought the choice there should have been an easy one to make, kind of.
So then here's the question: does he actually kill in the next book?
That is the question.
Maybe that's just something we say for predictions, but we were talking about Thorfinn and his vow to not kill and how it's in trouble. And I think we even said, "Oh, well, I don't think he will kill." But then we get to this moment where Bug-Eyes brings up the fact that, well, the death of a few terrible people is okay when you have to save your friends, the people that are important to you who are innocent. So anyway, I guess we'll discuss that later.
Sure. So let's talk about Garm next. This skilled fighter with his own very special spear, custom made or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's kind of the typical crazed warrior guy who's really cocky, but seeks the thrill of the fight. Does remind me a lot of like a younger Thorkell.
Totally.
Just skinnier,
Yeah, right, dude. I actually, so there was that part when he and Thorkell were fighting, when Thorkell's that guy who's usually often with Thorkell, just made a comment on like, what if he's like his bastard son or something like that, which obviously is only speculation, or like maybe not even speculation. Maybe it was just like a comment that meant nothing.
Right.
But I had that same thought even before that guy said that, just because, well, there is, as you said, like the similarities in how they both are so amazingly fond of fighting and those sorts of things, and that they're both very skilled at fighting on top of that. But I thought they were also, I mean, I think they have similar eyes and hair as well. Like, definitely the same types of eyes and the hair that kind of goes upward, kind of spiky-ish, like that.
Yeah.
So I could see it that, like, I don't know if it's ever going to be, like, confirmed.
Yeah.
But even if it isn't, I can still definitely suspect that they may be related.
That could kind of be a headcanon.
Yeah, well, for sure. Because it works.
Right. Interesting with Garm, while obviously he is all about the thrill of the fight and tries to find opponents that are strong, he is seeking someone to kill. Like, there's a few moments where he's like, I thought I was finally going to die. Like, it seems like he wants to die.
Right.
Which is kind of different than Thorkell. Thorkell, not saying that he's afraid of death, but that he enjoys, like, the fight and expects to come out victorious, but, wants to fight people who are strong.
Right.
And Garm does too, wants to fight people who are strong, but because they have the potential of killing him.
Right. Yeah, because several times he made kind of indications toward that he actually wants to get killed by someone. And yeah, that is, I mean, kind of freaky, but interesting.
Right? I don't know what to make of it other than if someone can show him that, well, at the end of his battle with Thorkell, I'm sorry, I'm jumping here, but there's a line he mentions where there's nothing better than fighting to the death, and obviously that's messed up. And so I hope that someone's able to teach him that there's more to life than just fighting and killing yourself, Yeah. And maybe Thorfinn would be able to do that at some point. So maybe there's potential there for him to eventually come to his senses and maybe join their party. But is he too far gone?
I wonder, yeah.
So that's just some thoughts I had there.
Right. Yeah. With this story, I feel like there's hope everywhere in a way, just because of kind of what the story is about. About we saw the main character go from being someone who killed a lot of people very easily without really a second thought to being what Thorfinn is now. So I think if he could make that journey, a lot of other characters can make a similar journey too. Obviously, it's not necessarily that they will, but I
Right.
think the possibility exists. So
Yeah, absolutely.
hmm.
I like how we have a spear user. You don't really see too many spear users
Yeah,
in media in general.
true.
I mean, I can think of a couple off the top of my head, but they're just not as prominent as the sword and the axe and whatnot.
Definitely, yeah.
So yeah, it's cool to see that and have someone as strong as Garm be the one.
Yeah. Plus, it's a very cool spear.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it kind of acts as a dual spear in a way.
Right.
I think that's all I have on him, other than he can be pretty scary.
Yeah. I do agree. In that case, let's talk about Thorkell next. So after Vagn was found dead, Thorkell kind of he took command of both of the armies and led them to to fight Floki at Jomsborg. And just such
Same
typical
old
Thorkell.
Thorkell.
Yeah. I just love that, and like the fact that like it wasn't just him changing sides. He actually kind of converted the other army to fight under him as well. Like this entire shift of things just happening there was awesome. But yeah, of course he could pull that off.
Absolutely.
And he's starting to pick up on the fact that Knut is killing off several mighty men, like throughout, like
Right?
through, like with poison, or like making them sick, so that they die. Thought that was interesting, and I wonder. Well, I'm hoping to see more of that, like see that lead into something bigger, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, and there's obviously been tension building up with his relationship with Canute for a while.
Yeah.
But this one takes a different turn in that he realized Canute was keeping him from having fun, and then all of a sudden he like wants him to fight people, and he's like,
Yeah.
that seems a little off. And basically makes a comment that, look, I know I'm the musclehead and everything, but don't think I'm stupid. Like I know I can pick up what's going on, and the part where he picks up Wolf by the neck, that just gave me chills. Just his kind of speech and that moment there, where he says that I kill when I want to kill, I die when I want to die.
That's the Viking way.
Yeah, just a lot of but that was an awesome Thorkell moment, I thought.
Totally.
Yeah. Not to say I don't like Wolf, or Canute, obviously, but I totally see where Thorkell is coming from, and the fact that he is kind of or was being used, or they were trying to use him, is totally not cool. But
yeah,
obviously Thorkell is his own man.
he absolutely is. Oh my gosh, like the stuff he was able to pull off in this like at least by the end of this book here, where like not only did he fight himself bloody with Garm before the actual battle started, so he was already like definitely had taken a lot of damage, but then he went into the fight and he caught all those logs, and he was caught in the fire on them.
Oh my gosh.
And oh my gosh, yet by the end of all of that, he was still standing at the end of the book. Like, it's so fun.
It's like, I can still fight.
Yeah.
It's not a serious injury.
Yeah, like burn injuries don't count as injuries or whatever. So good.
He ends up taking a liking to Sigurd.
Yeah.
And there's a line he says that the thing about fools like us is that we're worthless unless we fight until we're good and bored. And I don't know, it just got me thinking, like, could he get good and bored at some point and then be against fighting in general?
Ooh, like he reaches like a threshold or something where suddenly
Yeah,
he's had enough of it. Huh.
right. But I mean, the man just got burned, like became a freaking flaming pinata or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Uh-huh.
Um, and he still is gearing to get out there. So I don't know. It's like, will he ever reach that point?
Uh-huh.
This is something that we've talked about ad nauseum, but I really would love to see a change in him at some point. But I mean, look, I love the warrior he is, but at the same time, I see him look in Thor's eyes. Well, when he looked at Thor's eyes, now Thorfinn's eyes, and see something that he doesn't have,
Hmm.
and I want him to get that. I want that for him
Yeah,
eventually.
exactly. Yeah, ever since I think it was book 2, book 3, whatever it was. I think it was book 3.
Yeah,
Like when he saw, or when we saw the flashback of him seeing that look in Thor's eyes, followed by also when he saw that look in Knut's eyes. Like ever
yeah.
since around then, I guess those thoughts have existed kind of for us, and so yeah, it would be so cool if that would actually happen at some point. To see that look in Thorkell's eyes, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to that line where I die when I want to die,
Yeah.
do you think that's a red flag? Like a death
Oh.
flag?
Ah.
And that this battle is
Hmm.
his deathbed?
No, no, I don't. I'm gonna choose
Okay.
to not think that because I don't think he wants to die yet.
True. Hey, good. Hey, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. I can go with that.
Cool.
My last thing is that I mean he had so many funny little moments, just kind of being like a maiden in battle.
Right.
But my favorite one was when his battle with Garm ended, and Garm was like, "We'll have to continue this some other time. Thank you so much for battling. It was great." And he's like, "What?
Yeah.
So soon?" Like,
Yeah. He's also like it's also so funny I think how, or at least the way I'm kind of interpreting it, is that Yukimura is kind of using Thorkell as this kind of caricature of the warrior just in general,
hmm.
and how that obviously from the whole point of view and the themes of the story that everything is coming from, that is a bad thing to be like that's not the thing that people should strive toward ideally,
Hmm.
and so Thorkell is very much some like well, the type of person that is well, yeah, not good uh technically. And so I think it's funny how he kind of makes a lot of those instances where he shows those sides of himself, like the will to battle and the like all of those things, and he makes them funny, kind of as like and like to me it kind of it's kind of like Thorkell becomes a jester for the readers. Like we're supposed to laugh at him because he's a silly guy because he's a warrior
Hmm.
kind of. At least that's part of how I've started to kind of interpret him, especially through this book. Like when
Interesting.
he found out that Wang had been killed by somebody else, and he's like, and he just goes crazy. Like, would you hire someone to eat your own food? Like just making that comparison, like it's so absurd, and like that makes it hilarious. But he is like he's so weird.
True that.
Um, anyway, is that it on Thorkell?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Then let's move on to Hild next. Her presence in Thorfinn's life, I think it kind of disciplines Thorfinn a little bit extra, in some ways compared
Yeah.
to like how it probably would be if she hadn't been around. Like she pushes him to do better, basically, uh, and I think that makes for a very interesting dynamic between the two of them. Obviously, it started in the previous one, but I thought this book showed it more than the previous book had. Like the fact that, well, obviously now that we know, or Thorfinn knows that Floki is the reason for his father's death, and that if he would kill his father's killer, then she would do the same.
Hmm.
And it's just super interesting, I think.
Absolutely. I think it goes back to what we talked about in our last discussion. that Hild is the personification of Thorfinn's past, the warrior past, the revenge, rage-filled past, and so that if he goes back and gives into the temptation of, like say killing Floki, his past will come back and basically kill him.
Yeah, right.
In him and take him. So, I really think there is that comparison to be made, and that's why I think Gudrid is so important for Thorfinn in that, because she is the side of him that he wants to be. He wants to abhor fighting and live the normal life, and not go use violence as the last resort or as the first resort. So yeah, I sorry to bring Gudrid again into Hild's discussion, but
I don't mind.
I do think that both these characters play an important role for Thorfinn. And in this book, it was Hild kind of being the, like you said, like the check or the whatever, however you put it, just kind of keeping him in line. But then Gudrid can be kind of the savior or the someone to give him relief and show him that there is a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Besides his past. But Hild, Hild herself, like her character herself, like is just really fixated on, keeping Thorfinn in line and having him in her sights at all time. So I wouldn't say there's like a whole lot of growth, but maybe she's noticing how Thorfinn's handling all this as well. So maybe that does help her in a way.
Right. Yeah, in a way, I think just they need more time, like just kind of allow more time to pass, and for her to, I guess, get to know Thorfinn, just see him more as himself.
Agreed. But I like how she brings up the hypocrisy of the Vikings and warriors.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
They basically do the same thing as criminals, bandits, but they have the noble cause behind it, their honor or war or whatever,
totally.
And that makes it justified? No.
Uh-huh.
So I appreciate her calling out that, and it was just a good scene with those handmaidens in particular, like the women that they stole.
Yeah, that was very strong, and there's such a good point, as you said. Yeah.
Last thing, at first I thought when she saw those women that like it was her sister.
Yeah. That was my first thought too, actually. Like she recognized her sister or something like that. Yeah.
And and the funny thing is, I had thought about the fact that we did not see what happened to her sister, and I was I was beating myself up for not mentioning it when I read that part, because here it is, I should have mentioned it. But then it didn't turn out to be anything. I was like, okay, maybe I was right not to mention. But it would be an interesting twist, although maybe however that fit into the story at this point, I'm not sure. But it would be an interesting twist if she were to find her sister somewhere.
Yeah. Could be. But let's talk about Leif Erikson next.
Okay.
He got shot in the back and in the leg.
Owies.
Yeah, I got really worried for him when I saw that panel. Yeah. I was like, no, Leif, no! But he seems to be doing fine.
I guess,
yeah. I mean, he said he was fine, but I mean, one might just say that.
I'm not predicting his death, but maybe it's more so that I'm just like really hoping he doesn't die.
Yeah, I actually don't know like anything about the historical Leif Erikson's death. Like, I don't know when he died. I don't know where or how he died. So yeah, I can't base it on anything like that here.
It just wouldn't be fitting for him to die on a battlefield. Like, what?
Yeah, that would be a shame. I'm probably also gonna predict though that he will survive this, but the injury might be like it might not actually ever heal completely, maybe. So like, I don't know, maybe he's gonna need a cane to walk from now on or something like that.
I could see that. Does that keep him from going to Vinland then?
I don't know. Nah, I mean, he can still sit on a boat, maybe, be like, go right, or like, I don't know. I don't know how it works. Yeah.
We shall see.
We shall indeed. But is that on Leif?
Yes.
Then let's talk about Sigurd next. Turns out he's an avid fan of Thorkell the Tall.
I love it.
Yes, that was so cute.
It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to battle with my hero.
Yes,
I'm going to be a legend.
And that panel of his, like, in his imagination of him and Thorkell fighting side by side,
Yes.
that was so romanticized, kind of just like, oh my gosh, so funny. But yeah, I mean, good for him. Good for him. But then his men, or I should say his friends, had that whole friendship talk with him. And
Man.
I really hope that Sigurd will be able to at least begin to understand
Right.
in the near future of the story, like just that they are that he has those people as his friends, and well, to start treating them better for one, but well, first for him to just come to terms with that and to understand that he is not Halfdan.
Exactly. He does not need to rule with an iron chain, you know? His chains are the bonds of friendship.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. I like that. You know, I like some cheese here and there, and that's some good cheese.
The finest, aged well. Yeah, no, these guys are the bros of all the bros, and
Absolutely.
it's a shame that he hasn't realized that yet. I hope he does soon.
Yeah.
But one thing I liked about him though is, instead of really fighting in the battle, it seems like he's helping the injured. Like he's using his chain as a way to help pull people up. So I don't know. For some reason, I found that really wholesome and just
yeah.
Instead of being just like, oh, you chicken, I'm just more like, wow, like way to really help people out there instead of killing people. Like, way to go.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, he's not his father. He's not this really cold-hearted person, even though you always has wanted to try to be. And yeah, it makes me wonder when and if he ever goes back, how he'll kind of rule his father's domain.
Right. Yeah.
Or how if he'll butt heads with his father. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. You know, I can absolutely imagine that, like something along those lines. Because I imagine he is on this journey that we've been talking about, becoming a better person, and so by the time he returns to Iceland, assuming he survives all of this, then yeah, there's going to be some disagreements, I'm sure, between him and his father, and I hope that he will be strong enough to stand up to his father, and when that time comes. And I guess what I have been thinking about as something that I fear a little bit is for Halfdan to become an even bigger villain, kind of, whenever we get back to Iceland. So there could be some extra drama there potentially.
Yeah, his plans, desires are pretty strong. So,
yeah.
For example, like, you know, if Sigurd comes back and is like, yeah, you know what, I should divorce Gudrid, and he may not like that.
Yeah, you know, he would not.
I mean, obviously, we're hoping for this, right? We're hoping for a divorce. Like,
well, yes, we are, absolutely. Where I am, at least. Well, yes, we are.
Even if it's not so that she can marry Thorfinn, like, that's totally fine. Even if she just wants to be single her whole life, that's totally fine too. But she needs to get a divorce. Like,
yeah,
it's done. Like,
right, for sure. Like, yeah, she doesn't want to be married to Sigurd, even though he's on a path to becoming a better person. I don't think there's love there.
No, I mean, look, they if they eventually fall in love, sure, fine, that's okay, I guess. But it's not at this point. Sigurd's a great guy. I'm sure he'll have many babies with that one lady. It'll be.
Oh yeah, that one lady. Yeah, for sure.
That one lady.
Yeah, and it'll make her happy. Like it'll be just the best for everyone.
Win-win.
Yeah.
Win-win.
For sure. Anything else on Sigurd?
No.
Now let's talk about King Knut. So
good night. There's so many characters.
Yes, there are. There were a lot of characters. I think this book was the one book where I didn't take like a shitload of notes for anyone, but I did take at least some notes on a lot of characters. So
I feel the similar.
So Knut, anyway, we only got that little flashback to half a year prior, where he appeared hunting deer or unsuccessfully hunting deer,
Hmm.
in my region, actually, like
Oh,
in
really?
Scania, I think is the English word for it, which was part of Denmark back in the day, and so that, well, it makes sense that he would be there then.
Oh.
But it's like this the southernmost county of Sweden these days,
Yeah.
and he was in that region hunting deer. So I thought it was cool to actually see. I think because that area had been mentioned, I think in book 4 by some lord from that area or something like that.
Hmm.
But to actually see that area in the manga was fun for me, just because I actually live here.
Yeah, well, just wait till they get to Vinland. I mean,
Yeah. Oh yes.
uh, I've been to Canada.
Great.
Actually, I don't know uh, where they land. Well, I guess
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I don't know exactly either, except I'm pretty sure it is Canada. Yeah.
Anyway,
Or well, Canada today at least. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-mm. But anyway,
Mhm.
yeah, Knut, he made some jokes, I guess, in that chapter. Like there were some really strange jokes, both two times. It was like, okay, I guess that's a joke.
The definitely not jokes. Definitely secret messages disguised as jokes.
Yeah.
Messages being that I think he's the one that killed the chief in Jomsborg.
Yeah, killing the leader.
Right, and he's hoping that they just kill themselves off after that.
Yeah, his plans are a working.
Seems so. So
But
that's why we're sorry, go ahead.
no, it was just so funny to me that he played it off as jokes the whole time, and it's like those are like the worst fucking jokes I ever heard. If that like if you're to like if we're to believe that those are jokes.
If the king says, "Oh, it's a joke," what are you gonna do? You're just
True.
like, "That's a terrible joke." Unless you're like really good friends with this person, you're just
Mm.
gonna bust your butt off. Like you're just gonna laugh. Like
Yeah. No, I like how that one guy was like, a very clever joke, Your Majesty. It's like, yeah, I guess I gotta laugh at this, or else you'll kill me. Uh, no, but yeah, it's obviously code stuff, but mm, man, Knut is so conniving,
he really is.
and oof, it's like I do think he's a really well written character, like just from a narrative standpoint. But I don't like I personally don't like his person, like his yeah the person that he is. I think he's not that great of a person.
Yeah, and that's what makes him so interesting and likable as a character for me, and that's why I have him so high up.
That's totally
Um,
fair. I mean, it's like Askeladd is also a terrible person, but a an
right.
incredible character.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely. So yeah, I obviously we see Canute interfering here. Do you think that he'll interfere in the coming battle at all? I mean, it would have to be a pretty quick turnaround, but
Yeah, I don't
that
think
doesn't
so.
seem likely.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like this whole thing is gonna finish like within these whatever like within this day or so, like
Uh-huh.
that they're at. And I don't imagine Knut is gonna arrive suddenly,
Right.
especially because his plan was for them to kill each other off. So I doubt he would actually appear right here. That said, I'm sure we'll see more of him in the future of the story, but I don't think he's gonna appear in this part here. But let's move on to Floki. I wasn't surprised to find out that he is actually responsible for the deaths of several others who kind of threatened his status within the Joms Vikings. Because
Yeah.
that had been like kind of one of our standing suspicions as to why he killed or why he had Thor's killed. But to learn that like Thor wasn't the only one who like was a victim in that kind of way, I wasn't surprised to see that or to learn that.
Right. Right. He's not like the like super evil villain kind of guy. He is a grandfather to to his grandson, and he seems to be like a normal Viking person. But it's just he has this great desire and does anything to get what he wants. I don't know. It's just despicable to me, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I've said my piece about Floki. I don't really have much after this book other than
Mm.
it does seem like all of his plans are coming crashing down.
For sure. Yeah, he needs to be coming face to face with Thorfinn in the next book at the very least. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I guess he didn't have too much new stuff in this book here. So we can move on to Vagn next. So last time I brought up the idea of him being like another big bad kind of. And turns out, I mean, I wouldn't say he's necessarily a good guy.
No.
Like definitely not. But well, it was thanks to him that that Thorfinn found out about the truth about Floki.
Yep.
And Atli came back into the picture briefly.
You're right.
So that was a nice surprise, I thought.
Kind of disappointing that he just went back to be a bandit. Or,
Yeah.
You know, it's like
I agree, disappointing, but not that surprising.
fair. Fair.
But yeah. I mean, it was nice to see him though. I wonder what happened to Torgrim, his brother. Like, because he had gone crazy. Maybe he's dead at this point. I don't know.
Maybe. But Vaughn, I don't know, he does kind of have this typical noble warrior type of vibe to him. I love that moment where you see him for the first and you think like this really big tough guy, and he's a really big tough guy, but then he just sprinklers, just coming out of his eyes, and freaking drenched Thorfinn. Like I remember I was reading it, and he tells him about Floki being the cause of Thor's death, and you see Thorfinn's like surprised expression, and he's like soaked. I was like, wait, why is he soaked? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's the tears. Yeah. Oh my, that's disgusting.
It is. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, he didn't really stick around long.
Nah. Neither did his head.
Nope. So next I want to talk about Dog.
Don't you mean Carly's mama?
There's no individuality in that name. I wonder if they'll actually give the dog a name, like an actual name at some point. I'm cool with Dog, but anyway, I thought it was just super sweet, like that side chapter, and like going into it, I thought, okay, this is just gonna be like a silly little side thing that's not gonna have any meaning,
right?
But it actually did have meaning, I think, to the overall story. And like not only was it like it really, honestly, I thought a very good chapter and pretty emotional even too, and it also kind of became relevant again in one of the chapters later when we saw like written out, we kind of saw what the barks meant, like what she was saying to Bug Eyes in that scene right before Thorfinn arrived.
He pooped. He needs changed.
Yeah, change him right away. Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought that was a really sweet chapter and fun to see a little bit of characterization for the dog.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it was beautiful, and how there's this message of raising Carly to be a good boy.
Yeah.
I like that. Like
really like that. So I don't have anything on any other characters. What about you?
No, I don't.
Cool. Then getting into predictions. Well, yeah, I've said it probably like 2 times already, but I'm going to say it again. Thorfinn will come face to face with Floki in the next book, like 100%, but I don't think he'll kill him. I don't think I think you didn't think that either. Like he's going to struggle, but he's not going to kill him. That said, it's still possible that Floki might die in some other way in the next book.
Yeah, I really think Floki will die. Not by Thorfinn's hand. It could be Thorkell who does it.
Yeah.
Maybe Garm, or maybe just an accident. Who knows? But I go back to our question: will Thorfinn kill someone? Now, I don't think it could be Floki, but could it be someone, just a random soldier who is getting really hostile and is basically about to kill someone that Thorfinn really cares about?
Right.
Will that be the moment where he has to break his vow? I still don't think so, but what Bug Eyes mentioned and what you brought up, it's a good point. Like, when push comes to shove and you're in that really, really hard situation, what are you going to do?
Exactly. And I know we've talked, at least off recording, we've talked about like volume covers, and you don't usually like to look at them ahead of time. But have you seen
Mhm.
volume, like the next book's cover art?
Uh, because I had to pre-order it, or not pre-order, had to order it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm.
And I think I saw Thorfinn, but I didn't look at it. Didn't look at it in
I guess
detail.
I can speak freely since it's literally the next thing in line for us. Uh, it's Thorfinn holding a sword. He's actually holding a sword on that cover
He's
art.
holding a sword.
Yeah. So, whatever that's gonna mean. I mean, obviously, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to use a
No,
sword on a human,
you're
but
right.
who knows? It's it maybe. I don't know.
Uh,
So yeah,
it's funny. It's a sword. Yeah,
yeah, right,
interesting.
exactly. It's actually like a regular sword. No short swords or daggers or anything like that.
Really, maybe he's really gonna take after his father in that way.
Yeah, maybe. Right. I mean, I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't like decide to always keep a sword at hand, kind of like Thor's did. Like I
Yeah,
hope he
I
doesn't go that
agree.
route. But I guess in this specific like situation here, going into that battle supposedly, yeah, it's probably smart, I guess, to have a sword just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gudrid and Baldr in Jomsborg, they're gonna get out somehow. I hope they. I think it would be nice to see them play a big hand in that themselves. Although I also expect them to get some help. Like Thorfinn will do something here. He's not gonna just be here for nothing. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, Thorfinn will definitely be important in helping them get out of there, and well, helping the entire group of protagonists get away from there. But yeah, Balder. Yeah, I think we both suspect Balder will actually join them though on the boat.
So a thought I just had was something I already knew. Like I know there's going to be like there has to be. Well, I say already knew, but more like I highly suspect.
Uh
There
huh.
has to be a interaction with uh Thorfinn and Garm.
Ah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. You're right. You're right. That's true. That kind of slipped my mind.
especially since that's where Garm is going to right now.
Mm.
Could that be the man that Thorfinn kills? I don't
Ooh.
think so. No, no. But that is going to be also a very interesting interaction. The interaction with Floki is much more interesting. Um, if even if it doesn't happen, like I think it'd be an interesting choice for Thorfinn not to confront him
Mm.
as well. But that's the most interesting one. But I think the second is between Thorfinn and Garm, and just how it goes down. Like, is it going to be kind of a Takano Jutsu where somehow Thorfinn's able to speak to Garm's heart and get him to change, or is it
Right.
going to be some sort of bloody confrontation? Because
Mm.
Garm doesn't at this point and where they're at the battlefield doesn't seem to be one to take no for an answer.
Right.
Um,
And the thing is
battle.
also we know so little about Garm. Like
True.
the only thing we
True.
know about him is literally what we've seen. Like
Right.
he's a skilled fighter and he's fast. But we know
Yeah.
nothing really about, anything about his past or anything about his life really. So
Right.
it's hard to read him. It's hard to, I guess, well, to speak to his heart, kind of as you were mentioning. Like
Yeah. You're
I
right.
imagine that could be hard at least.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hmm. But yeah, super exciting. Very stoked. I'm probably gonna want to read this book tonight after we've after we're done recording this, like the next one here.
If I can stay awake, I will.
Right. And yeah, I already mentioned this, but yeah, Leif, I'm sure he'll be fine. But with the potentially being crippled to some extent after this,
hmm
is probably my prediction there. But I don't have any other predictions at all.
Neither do I. I think I've mentioned them all.
Nice. So any final words?
This is a really exciting arc. I like the frustrating situations that Thorfinn is put in.
Yeah.
It's entertaining as much as I wish it wasn't happening to him, but it is entertaining,
It
and
is.
I'm
Yeah.
fascinated to see how he goes. And depending on how this next book goes, it may put Vinland Saga as my favorite manga because
Mm.
honestly, the art, the characters, the writing, are just so masterful that it's
Uh-huh.
hard for me to say otherwise.
Dude, I feel the same way. And like another thing this arc brought that I'm super like that I'm absolutely loving it for. In addition to what you said, is the characters that have been introduced, like Gudrid and Hild, especially,
Yeah.
has been such a treat. But I've also this manga recently made it up to like my number two, like right after Kaguya-sama is where this manga is lying on my manga top list at the moment. But yeah, I have also considered, like, I'm trying to think, like, yeah, it's really really close to Kaguya-sama, and there's a high chance it might surpass it at any moment. So yeah, it's so amazing. I'm so happy that we started reading this together.
Thank you for being here with me,
Thank you.
sharing this moment.
It's great. It's a beautiful thing. Yes, and yeah, again, I think I mentioned this last time as well, but I've also had fun seeing how everyone on our Discord server, by the way, link in the video description on YouTube.
Yes.
Have everyone there have also been really loving this series as well, since a lot of them, or a lot of the people on there also started reading around the same time we did, but I guess they read ahead faster since we are a little bit limited by our release schedules and stuff like that. But yeah, still, like, it's so amazing that so many people like around the same time are just absolutely adoring this manga, and it's so great, and I'm so happy for what Yukimura has or is creating, and yeah, absolutely so grateful for him as a storyteller.
Indeed.
But I think that's it for this week.
Yep.
Awesome. Then, if you enjoy our content, then you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga, and it would be lovely if you'd like to support us by either rating our show on the podcast platforms or subscribing to our channel, Umami Manga, on YouTube. If you like this episode, please share it with anyone you think might enjoy it too. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about volumes 21 and 22. Bye-bye!
Gotcha, suckers!
Oh my gosh.